Hi there, Jus4SweetZ here. Today I'm going to make a 911 version of bruschetta. I had started my video earlier and had a big pepper incident, so I've had to start all over, but I've already chopped up my vegetables, so I'm just going to let you know what I did. I had to shut the video off because we had a mess. So anyway, what I did is I have 2 Roma tomatoes in here that I've diced into chunks. Dice them as fine as you like or as big as you like. You can even do slices. I have about a teaspoon of diced shallots. You may use red onion, yellow onion, white onion, garlic, anything you want in place of that. I do have some garlic cloves over here that I have a bag of, and I threw them in some boiling salt water. And I boiled them for about 4 minutes just to soften them up a little bit and to take the bite off of them. And I'm going to rub them on little pieces of baguette. Now these 2 baguettes I have left over from a barbecue last weekend, and I don't want to waste them. So I'm going to use one for the bruschetta tonight. We're having a big chicken parmesan bake because we have karate tonight, so I'm pre-making everything before everyone gets here. And we're going to have the bruschetta for an appetizer before karate, and then when we come home, the dinner will be in the oven, baked and ready to go. So I have my oven on broil on low heat right now, and bruschetta is just a really yummy appetizer. It's usually made with fresh tomatoes, basil, I believe onions, garlic, seasonings, and you put it on slices of baguette bread. And it just goes with what I'm doing tonight, and so I'm just kind of making my own version with what I have in my home. So, to my tomato mixture, remember we have 2 Roma tomatoes in here. You may double it, you may half it, you may triple it if you have a potluck to go to, if you have a dinner party to go to. Maybe you just want to sit in your living room and eat bruschetta and drink red wine. Whatever you want to do. I am going to add, I already added my pepper that I had to rinse a lot of it off. Crazy me. And I'm going to add some kosher salt to this, probably right around a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. Judge it on your taste buds. I have some Mrs. Dash table blend. Feel free to add Italian seasoning or any other kind of seasonings you want to this. I'm going to shake probably about a half a teaspoon on there, maybe a teaspoon. I'm going to add a little bit more pepper, but this time I'm going to make sure that my top is in place. This was off, and I dumped a whole thing of pepper into my bruschetta mixture here. Okay, so I'm just going to do a dash because I already have some in there. Now the reason I'm doing this now is because I want this to marinate a little bit before I stick this on top of my my broiled bread. I have some balsamic vinegar here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drizzle roughly probably right around a tablespoon in there. Now you can add more or less. You can marinate this longer if you want to. I'm just going to marinate it, you know, for a little bit, but it'll actually be, I'm going to marinate it just for the video for a couple minutes, but in all reality, I am not serving this until tonight, probably in a couple hours, so this is going to be marinating. But if you need to do it quick, it doesn't have to marinate very long. That just helps seep in some of the flavors. Now we have some olive oil, and I'm just going to drizzle maybe about a half a teaspoon on there. I don't want a lot because there's going to be olive oil on my bread. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stir this. We're going to see what kind of sauce we have going. Oh, there's plenty of vinegar in there. In fact, I probably put too much, but that's okay. Balsamic vinegar is wonderful. You need to add another tomato to this. So I would say roughly about 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar to go over your tomato mixture. Now we're just going to let this sit, and you can refrigerate this and let it sit, or if you like your tomatoes room temperature, you can let it sit out. Now my tomatoes were cold when I started this because I always keep mine in the refrigerator. So I'm going to let it sit out and let them get a little bit more room temp before I do anything. One thing you might want to do if you have it in your house is sprinkle some fresh parsley over the top of this. I don't have any, I don't have any, and being my Food 911 series, I'm just using what I have. So, but feel free to sprinkle some parsley over the top of this. So we're going to let that sit. Now I have my baguette bread, and I'm going to use one. And I have my fresh garlic here that I have boiled for 4 minutes in salt water just to soften it up. I'm going to dry this off with a paper towel. We don't want wet bread. Now this cutting board's wood. I don't normally use it for meat. I have used it for cooked fish and stuff. Normally I use a plastic cutting board. Okay, I'm going to cut the end off. And I'm going to cut right around 1/4-inch slices of my baguette bread. Now this one is not baked yet. This is one of the bake and serve, brown and serve ones. This is a sourdough. But feel free to use any kind of baguette you have. Like I said, I repeat myself often, this is just things I have in my home. So I'm just going to bake about that much right now, just so you can see what we're doing. I have a cough, excuse me. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to layer these onto a baking sheet that I've lined it with parchment paper. I cannot speak. I've lined it with parchment paper. Feel free to line yours if you want to, or you don't have to. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil onto each baguette. You know, just a little drizzle. Remember, that was a little bit more than a little, but remember that, you know, you have sauce inside your tomatoes that's going to go on top. We're just doing this to crust them up a little bit, give them a little bit of flavor. So we've drizzled some oil. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this open a little bit, and it's pretty soft. And I'm just going to kind of wipe it on there. See how it kind of breaks apart? And just let it, I kind of want it to break apart onto the bread. But I'm trying to get those juices of the garlic in there. So just kind of pat it in there. Be a little bit gentle. You don't want it to break into 1,000 pieces. Just doing little slices. Kind of place those on there. Now these are pretty good sized chunks of garlic, but remember we boiled these, so they're kind of on the sweeter side, not so potent. So they're going to be a nice accent to our bruschetta here. And I'm just cutting little slices of it and rubbing it on. I used to go to a restaurant here and they served baguette bread, and they would put a roasted garlic bulb on the table and balsamic vinegar and olive oil, and we used to just go there, and by the time our meal came we were so full from eating bread, but it was the best thing ever. And then they closed down and that was kind of a bummer, but let's kind of cut that one in half. This is little. Rub it on there, break it up into pieces, let that olive oil soak into it. And last but not least, this one over here. Okay, so now in place of basil, I have pesto, which is basil anyway. It's just a more creamed version of it. So I'm going to take my basil here, and I have a butter knife. Kind of stir it up because it has oil in it already. And I'm going to place a little scoop onto each piece of bread. See how we rub it on there? I'm rubbing it on there. And in case I didn't have this close enough for you to see, I took the garlic clove. I'll take that one off. Took the garlic clove, cut a little bit of it off, rub it onto the bread, just to give that bread the garlic flavor. And see how it starts to break apart because it's soft? So now I'm putting it on there. And then we're going to take a scoop of scoop of pesto, and we're just going to kind of slide that on there. So we'll do each one. Each one has already been rubbed with garlic. Pesto is very Italian. It's very delicious. It does, you know, it is basil, so you have to be a basil liker, but I am. And a lot of times I like basil. I like the bruschetta with basil in it and everything because it's mixed up with so many different flavors that it's not overpowering. This would make a great potluck dish to bring. You can get a lot out of it. Okay, one more. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I do have some fresh Parmesan in my house. Maybe, if I can find it. It's the bad kind. It's grated though. It's not like the dry brand. So I have this, And it's grated Parmesan cheese. And I'm going to just sprinkle a little dab onto each one. Give it a little bit of a bite. Because remember, we've sweetened that garlic. So, we're going to add a little bit of a bite to it. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to broil these roughly for just a couple minutes because you don't want to overcook them. And while we do that, I'm going to go ahead and clean up some of this mess. Later today, I'm going to actually show you guys how to make my pasta bake that I'm making tonight, my Parmesan chicken bake, and show you, you know, how you can make a fast meal. You know, prepare it ahead of time, make it in the morning, have your husband or your child throw it in the oven for you. Now feel free, if you don't like balsamic vinegar has a little bit of a sweet bite to it. You can use red wine vinegar in place of the balsamic vinegar. I just happen to really, really like balsamic vinegar. So I prefer to use that with my bruschetta instead of red wine vinegar, but feel free to use any of them that you like. And again, if you don't have pesto, just put basil in with your tomatoes and then do your bread the same way, minus the pesto, and have your tomato mixture with your basil. Make sure you have some kosher salt and some pepper in it. And I use the Mrs. Dash. You can use an Italian blend. You can use any kind of seasoning you like in it. So we better check it. And those are broiling away. They're going to be beautiful, nice and crusty and good. I did get some fresh strawberries today. You have to see how pretty these are. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with my strawberries tonight. I have 2 containers of them. They were buy one, get one free. What a deal that is. And I'm not quite sure what I want to do with them tonight. Don't know whether I want to make a chocolate and strawberry dessert sandwich with marshmallows on it, or if I want to make strawberry shortcake, or if I just want to make us some ice cream sundaes with strawberries and chocolate syrup on top. So many choices and I don't know what to do. But see how pretty they are? They're really, really pretty. They must be coming, you know, into season full force. So I got those and I got some blueberries. Spring and summer are here. I smell my bread cooking. We're going to check it here real quick. It's looking really good. If you could only smell what I smell. I hope tonight that you get inspired and decide that you want to make something off of one of my videos. If you're new to my channel, you know, and you like this video, please push the like button. Leave your comments, questions, or anything you have for me. If you are not a subscriber, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. If you kind of browse my channel right now, you'll notice that I have a lot of cooking demonstrations, whether they're desserts, appetizers, meals, drinks. I also have a lot of, my daughter is learning karate, and I'm kind of just, you know, taking videos so she can see how she progresses. I have some of my grandson, he's my sweet baby. I have programs from my daughter's school. So, I mean, it's a little bit of everything. I have things about my pets, just fun things, but I try to do as many cooking demonstrations as I can. My friend Linda from Linda's Pantry is the one that got me started. These are all baked. I think it took approximately 3 minutes to broil these, and once I got them in there, I turned them on high, so you can see how golden brown they are, and they're sizzling. They smell unbelievable. You would not believe this. I'm ready to sit down with wine and be by myself for a while and eat these. So I'm going to place them on a dish. They're really hot. Nice and crispy like a crouton, but soft in the middle so you don't break your teeth when you eat them. Okay, let's get this pan out of the way so you can see what we got here. Can you see those? So now what we're going to do I'm not going to cover all these because you know if I don't eat them, they're going to be a soggy mess. So these are something that you have to kind of put to the side, you know, put your dish in the middle, put these out to the side if you're going to your potluck or whatever. Stick your dish in the middle with your tomatoes, but I'm going to show you what one looks like when it's all said and done. So we have our tomato mixture that's been marinating in the balsamic vinegar with the shallots. Okay, we're going to kind of just pile that on top. Now if you want to dice your tomatoes smaller, feel free, or I thought it would be really pretty too to do a tomato slice, but I didn't do that. Put a little bit of juice on there, a little bit of dressing, and there you have my version, Food 911 bruschetta, as an appetizer, potluck, or just to sit down and watch a movie and have some wine. So I hope you had fun with this. I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to talking to you soon. God bless.